I'm going to be honest, this might be the funnest video of the whole course. We're going to be learning about input. And what's so cool about input is it allows users who are running Python code to actually interact and make decisions with that code. So let's go ahead and create our very first input, just all lowercase, type out input, and then do some parentheses. And inside of the parentheses, we need to provide a string. And this is going to be the prompt that's going to be shown in the console. So for example, just type here, enter some text. Okay, and you'll see how this works. So if we run this, you'll notice on the console, we now have the ability to type in some information. Isn't that cool? And we can hit enter. And what's so great is we can take whatever it is that someone types in and put it into a variable. So I can say, for example, user text is equal to whatever this input is, and then I can print this out. So I can say, I want to print the user text. So let's go ahead and run this, and I'll say something like hello, and I'll hit enter, and look, we get hello shown below. And what's so awesome is, for example, we can take this user text and uppercase it. So I can say upper here. And so now when someone enters in some text, it'll get uppercased. So I'm going to say, again, my hello. And when I hit enter, it makes it all caps. Isn't that great? Now, one thing I want to show here, this is just a usability thing, is that when someone runs this, it's really kind of awkward. It says, oh, enter some text. And they start typing, and it's immediately right next to the word text. Like it kind of makes it hard to look at. So something that we can do is I like to provide a colon at the end of this and a space, so that when someone runs this, it says enter some text. And now when I say like Nick, for instance, there's a little bit of separation. They understand that, okay, after the colon, this is the text that I'm entering in, and they can hit enter. And boom, they get Nick blown up like that. So the one thing that I want to emphasize here is that when we get input from the console, it always comes through as a string. So for example, let's say I want to take whatever someone has inputted and I want to double it. So let's say I have an input here, and I'm going to say that the prompt here is something like, what do you want to double? And I'll do a space there, and we're going to put this into a variable that I'll call user number. And then what I'm going to do with this user number is I'm going to print out whatever that number is times 2. So I'm going to say user number times 2. So if I go ahead and run this, oh, we got to do the above thing. So what do you want to double? I want to double the number 8. So I put in the number 8, and look, it just takes the number 8, which is a string, right? Because the thing that we get back from the input is a string, and it doubles it in that it just repeats the string 2 times. So if you want this user number to be treated as an int, we have to say lowercase int, open parentheses, and wrap that string so that it turns into an int. So now if we run this again and I put in the number 8, you'll see we get the appropriate 16. So this is where you have to be careful with the type, that we're always getting back a string. So if you want it to be something else like a double or an int, you've got to do some work to convert it. So to make sure that you've got a good grasp on this, I have a challenge for you. First, I want you to ask the user for some text, and then ask them whether they want it uppercased or lowercased. I have some example text here that might help you. So you can use what we already have up above, but basically just enhance it so that it doesn't always uppercase it. It lets the user decide whether they want to uppercase it or lowercase it. Hit pause, do that now. All right, hopefully that went well. So because we know how to comment things, I'm going to take the text that we have here, I'm going to comment this out and put it down below so that we don't have to worry about this, okay? And then I'm going to go to work here. So we do have the enter some text, that's great, but then we also need to decide, do they want to uppercase or lowercase it? So I'm going to copy this here, I'm going to do another input and paste that in there. The variable that we should call this, let's go ahead and call it something like upper or lower. And we're going to set this equal to that. So the user should be typing in 1 or 2. So what we want to do is use an if statement to say, okay, if the input, this upper or lower, is equal to, and again, remember, this is a string. So if it's equal to the number 1, like this, then we'll want to print the text to be uppercase. So we're going to reuse our code here that takes that and uppercases it. And in the else situation, which means they probably entered in the number 2. They technically could have entered in anything, and this will still run. But we want to take the text, instead of uppercasing it, we are going to lowercase it. So we're going to say lower here. All right, so let's clean this up a little bit, run this. So first enter some text. I'm going to say capital Nick, and it says, do you want to uppercase it? So if I say 1, look, it does the all caps Nick. Let's do the same situation where I have Nick, but I say, oh no, I want to lowercase it. Look, it does the lowercase. I told you, this would be one of the most fun videos.